Welcome to Chop Shop Motors. My name is Clay, and I want to do a little catch up on kind of a busy week that we just had on the 55 Ford pickup. So lots of work happened on the bed, and the videos were a little choppy, so not sure exactly how all of it comes across as we blend capturing content for you guys and also making it so I can problem solve or work on whatever is happening. So I'll give you just a little recap. I dove into the bed project figuring it would be pretty straightforward, pretty easy to do, and it ended up being having some unknowns that slowed it down a little bit. So from the best of what I can tell, the bed is 51 or 52 and Ford, and so had to do some modifications, and I had to do some repairs to some of the pieces. So the bed was pretty rough, as you can tell in the videos, and the support cross members and things like that were all bowed and bent, and had brackets that were either broken or missing. And so put all that back together and really just tried to figure out, am I going to be able to use that bed and have it look like a truck when I'm all done? And bottom line, it's going to be fine for this project. It wouldn't be the solution, at least if you found a 51 or 2 bed and you were building a 53 to 6 truck, you would have to do a little bit more work to pull it off so that it looked just like it was supposed to look. And you would just have to decide if you're up for that and if the bed was a good enough bargain, because you're going to have to do some work on the bed sides where some of the captured bolts come through to mount the fenders. And if you're crafty and you are good with your metalworking skills, those are easy things to fix. And so it could be a perfect opportunity for you to broaden your spectrum of what you're looking for. A good used bed that's nice is, at least in this area where there's a pretty big population of people that are kind of looking for stuff like that, is anywhere between 500 and 1,000, kind of depending on how many pieces are with it and what the shape is. There was one on Craigslist last week that the guy wanted 1,000, and it was, at least in the pictures, pretty nice looking. Still had wood in the bed, had a tailgate that had the anchors on the end cut off, so it was probably slated for some kind of latch that latched inside, and you didn't have chains, and so that's kind of the price point. So that bed got put on, did the modifications and work to get the running boards on, got one of the fenders on, got the other running board, which I'll show you, got it on, and did some other pieces. That bed's far from perfect. It was I probably worked 4 nights trying to get that bed onto the truck. I don't know how long the videos are going to be. I haven't really looked at the editing side of them yet, but by the time you see this, they'll be up and done. But pretty fair amount of work, especially considering what I have when I'm all done. But to be true to the scope, I don't have anything extra in that bed. I use bolts from the bolt bin. I use wood that came with this shop when I bought this particular location, and so I'm into it for the right kind of price. I bought on one of the auction sites, I bought some hinge tailgate hinge pins, if you will, the bolt to the back of the bed. This bed had been modified. I'm gonna modify it yet again so that I can put the right hinge pivots on it, and I paid $2.50 plus shipping. So that's that kind of budget for this truck. It's perfect. I wasn't going to buy any. I was going to use a version of what had been modified, but this will look a lot better. for the most part. I mean, it's still going to look, the back of the bed's still going to look like it's been welded on and stuff. So I guess that's subjective to how you look at it when you see the video. Other pieces that happened this week, I received. I'll show you video of it in the finished state. I also came across a glove box liner. This truck didn't have a glove box anymore. You know, by the time they sit out in the weather for any amount of time, the glove boxes are cardboard and they deteriorate. So I came across on an auction site a glove box liner for $5, and it was a reproduction, and it had been sitting on somebody's shelf, and you know, who knows what the story is, truck got sold, whatever. Well, I know what the story is now that I got it, and I'll tell you. But I got it, and it was advertised on the auction site as a 53-5, which are different than 56, and lo and behold, when I got it, it was a 56. So a bunch of work went into it. I'll show you what it looks like. I didn't film any of it because it's just tedious, and I wasn't sure that it would necessarily work. You aren't always successful with those things, but this one worked out fine. And I put the tailgate up into the opening to make sure that it would fit, and so I'll show you the outcome of that. So I've rambled on for quite a bit. I apologize for that. It's time to show you the progress that happened since the last major update, and show you what the truck looks like in the daylight, which is probably a little easier to see than the 11 o'clock pictures with the trouble light. So let's take a look at the progress to date and some of those little things that we did in between. And then I'm going to pull the 64 F100 out, and it's gotten just a little bit cooler, and I'm going to take a drive. So got big plans, and the lawn needs to be mowed, so, and things like that. So working on the truck's probably done, but there'll be other fun stuff happening, and I got to clean the shop. So let's look at what the progress is. If you like these kinds of videos, please like, share, subscribe, and let's see some stuff. Well, here's the truck from the back view. It looks like a 55 Ford truck. That is the goal. So in the daylight, it looks a lot nicer. In the daylight, it looks a lot more complete. I don't know that it looks nicer, but it looks a lot more complete. Down here at the back, as you may recall, there was a gap between where the 51-2 bed fender mounted and putting the 53-6 fender on it actually had a space that needed some attention. So I built a panel, bent up a panel, and that will go in on that side. Here's what it looks like on this side. Yeah, there it is. So that's what it looks like. That is another piece of 55 F100 hood. So the metal continues to get used, and I just use my Whitney Roper brake to bend that up. That piece will go and fill in. It's really a filler panel now for the fender goes. This fender is yet to get put on. I gotta do a patch panel in the front of the fender yet. But the running board, see if I can get it without the sun beating down on it. Might be impossible. The running board is now on. It looks good. I actually have the factory bolts on this side, so it looks nice. It's mounted up to the bottom of the bed. It seems to be working out pretty well. Pretty happy with that. And are there differences? Absolutely. There's some areas that are a little different, but when we look at the bed bolts, I think I can use I'm trying to figure out how to block the sun so I can actually see what I'm looking at here. So I can use these three up here at the front. I'm hoping that you can actually see those. Those three at the front won't get used. The fender goes in front of those. but these ones along the back here, or along the top here, 1, 2, 3, 4, I believe 5 will fit on the fender, so that's good. Those will get repurposed. And then back here, these ones get bobbed off, and we will we'll do the body work there if you know, when it actually gets time to paint it. If it's way down in the future, we'll do some body work there and make that disappear, and it'll be fun. It'll be perfect. Back here at the back, did a little bit more work. Put the glass bolts back in the back corner here. Those hadn't gotten installed yet, and I had to modify the back of the bed a little bit to allow the tailgate to work. So that this piece of angle they put on, and this whole whatever that way that tailgate was on there was, my guess was it had to have been for an earlier style tailgate. So probably one that would have come on this bed. But all speculation. So it is now clearanced. I took the bent up bed and I put it up there, and it's going to work. These tailgate chains will get replaced, and I'll have to come up with some tailgate chains that will do the trick there, but not a big huge hurdle. I also straightened the lip here that had been beaten out of shape pretty dramatically. Who knows how. It's kind of interesting, the areas that just get mangled. No rhyme or reason as to why I did that on both sides. They're not gorgeous, but they will clear the bent up tailgate, so once the tailgate's straight, it'll even be better. Other things back here, I guess that's about it. I haven't put the interior bed bolts in yet because it's going to be a lot easier when I get someone here to help me, so I'll just wait till someone comes by that I can recruit into helping. And I'm yet to finish the final piece of bolting that fender on with the running board. I got to build some support plates in there. So a few more pieces here, some detail work, and that's kind of how that's going. So then let's go to the inside. So now we go to the inside, and we go inside the glove box, and we now have the glove box line. So basically what happened here is a 56 Ford does not have an ashtray there. So a 56 Ford, because the firewall and the dash and the A-pillars are dramatically different, the dash is a lot different, and it uses a different style instrument cluster, kind of a half moon, crescent moon instrument cluster, and this dash area has an ashtray up in the top part of the dash where it's smooth on a 55. So a few differences. And so that glove box was, you know, another, I don't know, 4 inches longer or so than this one, than what I needed. So I modified that box and was able to repurpose my $5 glove box with an hour or so's bit of time to be a glove box for the truck. It's always a little nicer when you have some place to toss your sunglasses and stuff, even for a truck like this. So that's the story there. It's a little victory. Is it a critical piece to make it be the truck that drives around the block? No, but I don't know what else to say. No, it isn't. But that's what I wanted to work on. So that's the inside, and that's that piece. I'll show you the tailgate because that's going to be one of the next projects. So let's go take a look at that. So here's a piece of hood that just keeps getting cut up and used for pieces. Super useful. Move it out of the way. So here is the tailgate. This is going to be one of, I'm thinking this will probably be one of the next videos I shoot. So basically what's going on here is it's got a big break in it here that lets it flex a bunch that we will take out. So I don't have a press that's big enough. It's got a little bit of a bow where it was overloaded, probably 10 times what it should have had on it or more. These trucks definitely got a lot of misuse, and so it's probably going to end up with a bow in it until I decide to attack that with more rigor. But for this project, I'm probably not going to get too wound around the axle on that. I will press it straight, hold it straight, clamp it straight, and weld it all up and do some work in the middle just so the integrity is there. And then over here, I don't know if this is really going to show very well, but over here this piece is really hammered and banged up. So it's broken loose almost all along the way. So I think what I'm going to do is drill out the rest of the spot welds, and I'm going to take and straighten that piece out so that it is in the ballpark of what it was prior to being hammered. The other side is not nearly as rough. It's not as damaged. It is broken loose a little bit, but I probably won't pull that one off. I'll pull this one off, straighten it, and that'll make it a little easier to bolt it back together, weld it back together, and have it actually be more or less what a tailgate is supposed to be from a fit. So that's an upcoming video. Maybe I don't know, maybe this week I'll do that. I'm kind of itching to get it started again, so we'll see kind of where this falls in. But that's kind of the end of the adventure. Kind of the end of the adventure for this video. So that will wrap up this video. Thanks for letting me show you a little bit of the progress as we get really close to, I think we're getting pretty close to taking this thing around the block. I appreciate all of those of you who are watching and following. It's great to see that people enjoy this stuff. I apologize for some of the videos. I look at some of those that have me in it, and I swear I look like I'm $6 from homeless, haggard and rough around the edges, and so I apologize for that, but that's just the way it goes. And we all want to put our best foot forward, but sometimes when you're doing this stuff, even your best foot's pretty rough. I look forward to getting a little bit of progress and maybe actually getting some electrical done maybe next week to be able to start the truck with the key, and that will be a huge milestone. Once we get that, really the only thing is waiting for Shelby to come by and bleed the brakes, and a few more details. We'll be able to, if things go well, get a fender on it, a few other little details. We're maybe a week away, So we probably, we're doing our best to make it as tight as possible. Not sure, haven't looked at the calendar, so we're probably a little bit past our 30-day. I say that, I hate to say that, but we're going to do our best to keep it tight. And I did add up some of the numbers on this truck, so I have a figure that we'll share as we get closer and see kind of where everything lands on what it costs to do a scruffy old project like this. I also, as I just remembered, I also dropped off the dry shaft to be shortened. I'll pick that up early next week, and that is probably one of the critical pieces that we had to have done. That once that's done, really pretty green light to taking a test drive. So I'm Clay for Chop Shop Motors, and we'll see you on the next project.